You know what it is like to wake up every morning with relentless ringing. The first thing that you hear is what reminds you of the struggle, of anxiety, of the sleeplessness, of the difficulty of life with tinnitus. Today in this video, I have a very inspiring story from another member of our program and our club community. It's a habituation success story, and it comes from Rick from the United States. Rick used to be addicted to certain kind of anxiety medications for years, and when he tapered and withdrew from them, his tinnitus got very bad. And Rick then came on into our club and community. I still remember the first call that I did with Rick to talk to him about his journey and to tell him a little bit more about our club and our program. Today in this video, Rick shares the whole journey of how he claimed his life back from tinnitus, of how he is no longer impacted by his tinnitus in his daily life, and what has helped him the most. And without further ado, I want to welcome Rick to this video today. Thank you for being here. I want to just remind you that you don't have to go through this alone. My name is Tinnitus Coach Frieder. I was born deaf in my left ear. I have a hearing aid and a severe high-pitched tinnitus on my remaining right ear. And you're here on this channel because you want to go from bothersome to non-bothersome tinnitus. And if you're looking for some resources to do that, then you can either click on the link below or go to www.habituate.online, where you will find my free 4-day email course to tinnitus, but also the place to directly go into our mytinnitus.club community. Welcome. Today we have another member of our valued club with us. We have Rick McNally from the US. And Rick, you have to tell us again where you're from directly, because Idaho? Was it Idaho?
North Idaho, about 60 miles from the Canadian border.
Okay, now I got it again. Okay, and Rick's been a member since I think last summer. And yeah, today we just want to talk a little bit about Rick's story inside our club, and maybe he can just give himself a warm round of applause here. So thank you, Rick, for coming on today. And yeah, maybe just introduce you briefly and talk to us about your journey a little bit.
I'm a retired machinist. Been machining for probably 30 or 40 years. And it was kind of strange. After I retired from machining, I just kind of noticed one morning I had a tone in my ear and didn't think much about it.
Hmm.
And then I would say a couple of weeks later, then I had another tone in the other ear, which was a high-pitched tone in my left ear. And of course, I went down the rabbit hole. I started Googling things to try and find out what's going on. How can I fix this? This can't be. I can't go on like this. And the internet is not the right place to go to be Googling for tinnitus. There's too many stories that aren't positive, and there are way too many positive stories that I think really outweigh. But I went to see my doctor, and unfortunately, he put me on benzodiazepines, which I would say kind of quieted it down for the first couple of years. But then I was having more trouble with the benzodiazepine and side effects than anything. So it took me, I think after 6 years, it took me another year to get off of it and a year of side effects. And if the doctor ever asks to put you on a benzodiazepine, 4 to 6 weeks is the maximum, and not 4 to 6 years. That's just not the right thing to do. So I actually felt like I had to start from ground zero again, because the orchestra came back fairly loud in my head. I would say a 7 or 8 out of 10. And again, I started looking for things, and I found Frieder. and I found your YouTubes and I found your podcasts, and that was the beginning of getting my life back. And I, I, I can't say enough about all the things that you've done for me, the all the information, all the practices and the exercises and the community meetings, pairing up and being a buddy system. It helps us. We work back and forth with each other. We keep each other going forward, and using positive affirmations and everything to let you know that you're in the right place. And it's a journey. It takes everybody time. Everybody's different. But I would say that for me, after about, I would say 6 months, 5 or 6 months of practicing, I all of a sudden, I had days where all of a sudden I noticed that my tinnitus was maybe a 4 or 5. It had come down a little. But the thing that surprised me the most was all of a sudden I realized I didn't react to it. I didn't I didn't have a reaction to it. And that puzzled me. Actually, I just wasn't ready for that. I wasn't expecting it. And I would say throughout the last 3 months, 3 or 4 months, I would say fluctuations. I call them fluctuations because that's a nicer word for it. I would have fluctuations probably, oh, 3 or 4 times a month, lasting 2 or 3 days. And I, I, I was thinking that I hope this isn't going to be harder for me because it's almost like trying to hit a moving target. It would come and go. But doing my meditations, doing CBT and ACT, sometimes I thought it was a little funny. It was kind of funny, which kind of made the mood a little bit lighter. And what I started to notice was over time was just being positive and just accepting what was going on. It it's so hard to explain. It just started to get easier and easier. I mean, right now, it's probably a 5 or a 6, but it just kind of goes into the background when I get on with things. And yeah, I'd say I never thought it would happen. I was always thinking, like other people have said, oh boy, this is so bad. There's no way I'm going to habituate. And of course, that was one of the phrases that I had to correct myself for because I can't tell the future. And I have. I know it's a journey that a lot of these practices, the meditation, I'm probably going to do the rest of my life because it helps in so many areas of your life, not just the tinnitus.
Mm.
And I'm so thankful, Frieder. You saved me. That's all I can say. You saved my life, and I'm back to living.
I, I thank you for saying that. I really sincerely do, but you saved yourself. And that's the most important thing that you can experience, that you put the right things together. You came and you stuck with all the program, all the stuff, although it sometimes sounds ridiculous. I want to get into it in a moment because you already shared the word the orchestra. So maybe you can elude the listeners a little bit more to that. But you saved yourself, Rick. You just I'm here to provide that space inside the mytinnitus.club community and to have the practices and the coaching there for people to start learning what are the right strategies for themselves. And yes, partly I'm responsible for hosting that community and making this available for people with tinnitus. But then again, you have to do the work yourself, and you did, and you feel that you're getting better. So it's very, very important that you know that this is also progress that comes out of yourself, and it's also your self-earned progress, which is a massive thing for you in your life to experience, that you can come out of such a difficulty by, I mean, yes, a supporting system and so on and so forth, But in the end, most of it you did by trial and error, and applying the right tools out of the whole program that we have for yourself. And now to my second question, would you care to share a little bit more about the orchestra?
Um, oh, the types of sounds that I'm hearing and that are going on, you mean?
No, 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 no. I mean the fact that you call it the orchestra. I mean that. I mean, for people, they will be like, huh? Why does it? What does it means with the orchestra?
Well, well, the orchestra, actually, you gave me what I called my ACT key, and I had told you that I had several different sounds. I had two different sounds in my right ear that sounded like a police car in Europe. The same dirty, 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 dirty. And in my left ear, I have a rumble and a high-pitched squeal. And I think I told you that the two-tone isn't too bad, and the rumble, I'm getting better at accepting. The high pitch was a little more of a challenge. And you said, well, you might want to think of the high pitch as one of the guys in the orchestra just can't get his instrument tuned correctly. And when you said that, I just started laughing about it and realized that that's exactly what I want to do. So in the morning, I would wake up, and of course, it'd be there to greet me in the morning. And instead of really going negative, I would just laugh and tell this little guy with his out of tuned instrument to sit here on my shoulder and hang on, buddy, because we got a day ahead of us and we got things to do. So hang on. And that's the way I go about my day every day. I tell that little guy to hop up there and hang on. And it just it gives me a different it changes my mood in a sense. And I just get on with my day, and I start to realize that over and over throughout the day, I would just be forgetting about it. I'd be going about my business and realizing, oh, wow, I haven't heard it for 3 or 4 hours. And of course, when I would think about it, oh, there it is, yeah. But just the fact that now I hear it and I think, why was I so upset about it? But it's so different now. It's there, but it doesn't bother me anymore at all. And I'm now going, I would say sometimes a week, maybe a little bit more without hearing it at all, day after day after day.
Wow.
And the first time I ever experienced that was when I went on vacation. And
Mm.
I think I told you I went up to meet my brother, and we went fishing on a river and camped out on the river. And I was kind of surprised that I didn't hear it the whole time I was on vacation. And when I came home, it was there to greet me. But all of a sudden, I realized that one really woke me up to, wow, habituation is it's accessible, and I'm getting there. And it just amazes me. I just didn't think it was possible. And now I'm thinking to myself, I'm living proof. It's happening. It's working for me. And I'm so grateful.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Rick. It's always difficult for people, I know, because but you're the prime example, like, being on these benzos for so much time to, deal with the anxiety. You're dealing with the anxiety. And this is the big thing that we have to realize. You still have tinnitus. You still have what you say you call fluctuations. The orchestra still regularly is out of tune a couple of days a month, but you're not reacting to it. So you're living your life. You go
Yeah.
by your values. You do what matters. You do what's important. And people always say like, oh, like only if there's a tinnitus cure can I get my life back. And I'm like, no, don't wait that long. Maybe we don't even know how much we have on this planet. But why would you wait and like spend your life struggling with this if you can learn a different way? Although, and we know it sounds ridiculous a little bit sometimes when, in ACT we use these diffusion techniques such as the orchestra or singing to our tinnitus or different things, right? There are so many different skills that we have in acceptance and commitment therapy. But we do know that the brain really changes its response completely on it. And if that's what it takes, and if you get your life back by doing that, then why wouldn't you, right? So I'm very, very happy that you shared this with us. Thank you.
Well, actually, if they did come out with a pill, I might be hesitant because taking medications and stuff, there's always some side effect or something that just doesn't uh, work in your body that well. And at this point right now, if they said they came out with a pill and this will take care of it, I would hold off. I would wait just to see if other people took it and it seemed okay. But it's really strange to say this, but I really don't care if they come out with a cure because I'm not bothered by this anymore. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
That's what I'm trying to tell people, right? I'm the same. Like, I mean, everyone knows, everyone listening to my podcast or watching my videos, like I'm deaf in one ear, I have this hearing aid and a high tinnitus, and I'm the same. Like, if they offered me a pill now, but there was a 10 to 20% chance of developing some kind of like rare brain tumor, I wouldn't take it. Not for money. Like, I would not take it. Like, my life's pretty good, even with the high pitch, intense tinnitus and my hearing loss. Like, I'm absolutely fine with it. So, and that's the misconception that people have to get over. And I just wanted to ask you, what do you think has helped you most getting over that misconception that you have to get rid of these sounds in order to start living your life again? Is there anything in particular that you found that helped you get over that misconception?
Um, the meditation and I think what did help a lot was exposure therapy, and I I would I would usually, if I meditated, it was focusing on my breath and sending my thoughts on down on leaves down the river or in the
Yeah,
clouds,
yeah,
and then I started focusing on the sound of my tinnitus. I would wait until I felt really good and comfortable and relaxed, and I would do it then. And I would do probably about 5 minutes, and now I'm up to a half hour, 45 minutes. I will probably most days I concentrate on my breath, and I would say 2 or 3 times a week I will use my tinnitus as my focus point. And actually listening to it to a point where the high pitch seems to fade and the rumble is what I hear the most. And it's just a comforting rumble that I listen to, and sure enough, my mind will go off on some thought or something to do in the day or something I need to get done, and I'm like, oh, hey, back to the orchestra. And that I never thought was going to be possible. If I sat there listening to that tinnitus, there's no way my mind is going to wander off. Well, it does. It does after spending time with the practices and letting your brain know that you are not freaked out about this. You're going about your business, and the brain's like, wow, the body seems okay. The body seems relaxed. I guess this isn't that big of a deal. And it that's how it worked for me. I'm amazed. I am totally amazed.
yeah. I mean, you discovered something that all humans have in common. Our brain's neuroplasticity, its ability to completely change the way it relates to certain events or stimuli. It's absolutely possible to go from happy to miserable in seconds, and it's absolutely possible, not in seconds, unfortunately, but to go from bothersome to non-bothersome tinnitus if you know how to put the strings and pieces together in your own personal journey, right? And one thing that has very well worked for you might not work for someone else. So I always say, it's not the thing that we
Mm.
just buy a set of like very expensive hearing aids, put your some sounds on, and then send you off. No, it needs a lot of like fine tuning and tailoring, and like, okay, how will you use acceptance and commitment therapy for yourself in order to see, okay, like this is the piece I need here, that's the piece I need there. And then slowly but steadily you learn also in, combining it with these group sessions and maybe the buddy system, in exchange with other people, what has worked for them, what might I maybe take for myself, etc.
Yeah.
And piercing it all together, I know it takes time and it takes patience, but it's absolutely worth it. And I mean, you are the living and breathing example of how someone goes from, like, I remember, like, you were a little bit, I mean, I remember that you came on and you were excited, but you were also a little bit like, what is this going to be like? I remember that. But then you came on, you did the work, and you did make stellar progress. I remember, like, the sleep was a problem at first, and then you go through the act
Yeah.
parts of the sleep, and then the sleep got better, and then the other things also got better, and then it sort of kind of like starts snowballing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, start to mark down every little win and celebrate every little win. Let myself know that, yeah, the sleep was that I forgot about. The sleep was very difficult for me. And after a while, I just started to notice I probably sleep between 6 and 7 hours. And getting to sleep was one of the hardest points. And now I go to bed and it's there with me, but I just go to sleep. I'm just amazed. And oh, what was it? When I was when I was trying to sleep, I was using a lot of sound. I was using a fan. I was using crickets. I was throwing everything in there. And so what I did slowly, and you suggested it, was to just maybe get rid of one sound, then maybe get rid of another, and or turn it down and just see if progressively I can get used to just going to sleep with the sound. And yeah, it started to happen after I went on the vacation and came back, and I'm like, wow, 5 days and I didn't hear a thing. That momentum and that positivity that I had, I think I was at a point where, yep, I'm not going to use any sound tonight. I'm going to go to sleep and it's all going to work out. And I woke up the next morning. I was like, wow, I did go to sleep without any sound. And yeah, all along the way. And I always told myself with the fluctuations that this was just temporary. It's not going to last forever. I'm going to come back down to a base limit, and the patience too. Yes, you got to have patience and patience with yourself. Oh, and one of the boy, some of the things that the self-compassion and the self-talk that sometimes you give to yourself and blaming yourself, or it just, you don't want to blame yourself. This is just something that's happened, and it's just a body sensation. And I'd give myself a big hug, and like you say, the hand on the chest. There's something to that you're giving yourself some self-compassion and not being mean to yourself. And yeah, the critic in your head can get pretty pretty angry and or mad. And no, the self-compassion thing. And I also use the self-compassion in the meditation and wishing everybody happiness and health and body and mind and stuff like that, and myself and friends. And I've learned that's the other thing. The positive out of the tinnitus is that I've learned more about myself than I ever thought possible. I uh, I did spend a lot of my time going on autopilot and not really mindful of the present moment. And this has changed me in a way that I don't think I would be here with this thought of myself and how I've changed if the tinnitus never happened. And I think I'm a better person now than I was before the tinnitus.
Wow, that is very powerful. I know that some people say that, but that is very, very powerful. And it's a journey of, emotional resilience, of understanding your own emotions, of understanding your needs, of understanding how to also manage difficult periods in life, right? I mean, there is
Yeah.
something to the saying, what doesn't make you kill you, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Doesn't mean that you have to do that on purpose or self-inflicted, but there is something true to it, that in a sense that you build up that emotional resilience muscle, and you learn so much more about your own thoughts and feelings, and whether to believe every thought or whether to also question some thoughts sometimes, and to say like, oh wow, is that really true? Does that have to make me very miserable and spoil my day today? Or is it just simply a thought and a feeling, and maybe I can just
Yeah.
let go of it and do something that will enhance the quality of my life today, because I can live by the day, and not worry about so many things all the time. So thank you very much for sharing, Rick. That's incredibly valuable. I just wanted to ask you one last question. If someone's listening
No.
now and they're in a similar place that you were, what would be your recommendation? I mean, sure, we all need the time. We need to give ourselves time, and there are no real shortcuts. But apart from that, like if you could go back to yourself and sort of like give yourself a few insights, a few tips and tricks maybe back then of how you could have like maybe softened the blow of tinnitus and those problems over all those years.
Part of it definitely was self-compassion.
Mhm.
Um, I really knew nothing about self-compassion. I probably have heard of it, but didn't really know what it was about. But the self-compassion and the ACT key was it. I always come back to that because it always made me laugh. And that became a part of my morning ritual when I would wake up and do my meditation and sit up, and I would hear the little guy, and instead of the critic taking over, I had self-compassion for myself. I said, it's going to be a great day, we got things to do, and come on, little guy, hop on my shoulder. um, and I would tell people that if you get into this program, it will work. You need to have patience. Patience is one of the big things. This isn't a pill, and the next day you're going to be fine. You you work at it week after week, and I think just getting involved with you in the community and starting to look at all the tools, just being on the web page for the first time, I had hope. I had more. Um, the glass was half full now, not half empty. And it just got better from there. And all I can say to anybody that's going through this, you're going to be okay, and you can get there a lot quicker through Frieder and patience. Love yourself, be kind to yourself, have patience, and it will work for you. It takes time, but there are people that will get there quicker than I did, and there are people that may take longer. And it, like Frieder said, it's a journey for all of us. And yeah, there. It's not a destination. This is a journey. And
Yeah,
yeah, I think this is the place to be.
yeah. Thank you, Rick. I really, really appreciate you taking time today out of your enjoyable life now. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing all of this with us today. It's really, really meaningful also for me. It's for me really important that more people get to see that this is possible, because we want to inspire hope, not despair, like in many other unregulated forums. So I want to draw attention to the fact that
Yeah,
this is not an unregulated forum, but it is a step-by-step program, guided and supervised by me, together with people from all over the world. And I think what's really, really important, what really stood out for me, is your amazing transformation and your personal growth, that is not you know,
Yeah.
not only due to tinnitus, but also due to your openness and your acceptance of, you know, working with new things and, you know, getting excited. Like, you know, we sometimes we get older, we lose our ability to get excited, but I still see that excitement in you sometimes, and I love that. Or when you talked about the trip with your brother going fishing, and you know, that just touches you, and it touches everyone else, I think, listening. So it can inspire people who listen to this and who view this to, you know, maybe go out and do things like that themselves, and to stop perceiving the only thing is the world is negative constantly, but to really go out and pursue things they love again, and little by little get better with their tinnitus as well. So thank you for taking the time today. Thank you for
Yeah.
talking to us. And yeah, thank you for being such a valued member of my Tinnitus Club.
Yeah. And again, the club, being in the community, it's just so comforting to be, you know, you're not alone and you're with people that are on the same journey and they understand what you're going through. There's no better way to do it, I think. It's very comforting.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I thank you so much, Frieder.
Thank you, Rick. It was a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. And yeah, hope to catch up with you very soon, okay? Thank you for taking the time.
Okay. Oh yeah. I won't be a stranger.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rick. Yeah, thank you very much for tuning into my interview with Rick, who was part of our online tinnitus club. At www.mytinnitus.club you can find our online community and join the 12 weeks program. We have different subscription levels for every person and for everyone to enjoy the benefits of this acceptance and commitment-based, science-based tinnitus habituation program. If you want to let me know what you thought about this video, it'd be really helpful for me to know what kind of videos I should be focusing on in future. If you'd like to hear more success story, more insights from tinnitus and habituation, more from my personal journey maybe, then let me know down below in the comments. The link to the resources is also down there. If not, you can go to www.habituate.online and find, for example, my free 4-day course to email at free 4-day email course to tinnitus habituation. Gee, that's difficult. And then thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me on my journey on becoming the most honest and biggest worldwide online tinnitus coach that helps you to live a better life despite your tinnitus. Habituate and go from bothersome to non-bothersome tinnitus. From my heart to yours, from Berlin and Germany to wherever you are tuning in from, I wish you all the best. I wish you a happy habituating, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.